Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just doing a video on Malachi, and this is the very last book of the prophets. And in my 1611 King James Bible, it's the prophets, and then it's the Apocrypha, and then the New Testament. And so it's a short book, but to me has, again, the same sequence that I have posted in my Revelation video recently, and then what I've been posting recently. And so this is really a challenge for me personally to check the sort of internal consistency of the Bible and the narrative that I presented. And, it's cool. Like, it's very, very interesting and fun, actually, to go and look at the book, the Bible, the entire book, where Jesus says he comes in the volume of the entire book, and look for the same narrative. I would not expect anything contradictory to what I've posted, really on my entire channel, but definitely in my sequence of the end times video that I just posted. And so, it's encouraging and just a reaffirmation here in Malachi that it's the same narrative, and I'll walk through that here. And so, just to begin, it starts first with Christ coming on the scene during his first appearance when he died on the cross. Malachi 3 reads, "Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me." That's referring to John the Baptist. "And the Lord, whom ye shall seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. But who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap. And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old, and as in former years. And I will come to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, against false swearers, against those who oppress the hirelings in his wages." God does care about minimum wage. "The widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed." We have to, again, be reminded of this. God does care about the details, for sure. He does care about how much people are paid, what they're doing, and all that, even if this world doesn't care and Satan doesn't allow us to talk about money and equitable distribution of it. God does, and very much so, and there's many examples of that. And also it says here, that's even more important, is that God does not change. That whatever he's telling us in the very first book is his same vibration, is his same likes and dislikes in the last book. So verse 6, "For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Even from the days of your fathers ye are gone away from mine ordinances, have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord of hosts. But ye said, wherein shall we return?" So he's saying we have to sort of we're making the first step. And I believe that this applies to the time when Jesus was on the scene first, and then also in these last days, where there are large groups worldwide on an individual level returning back to God. And then once we all do, then he's going to return to us. So just scrolling ahead, this to me, again, is me looking in other parts of the Bible for consistencies, really, in what I just presented, where I have stated that, the book of Revelation is attempting to convey to us the sequence of events of the end times, sometimes symbolic, sometimes very literal, that there's a group, his elect, that will be taken away, and then there will be a 3.5-year tribulation testing period with plagues enacted by 2 witnesses, and then the wrath of God, the quote cleanup. And so thankfully, not surprisingly really for me, but it is very encouraging that Malachi 3 and 4 confirm this as well. So Malachi 3:17 reads, "And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him." So this is referring again to that 144,000. Verse 18, "Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not." This is going to be the time in that 3.5-year period where the mark of the beast is the thing that's going to use to delineate between God's left and right-hand side. And there are only 2 options. I want people to be very, very aware of this. This is not to scare people unnecessarily. This is just the way it is. If people don't like it, we have to take it up with God. There's no in-between. There's no half Christian, three-quarter Christian, 25% Christian anymore. And this is not even a proclamation of 100% truth or anything grandiose like that. It is just simply there are two groups of people that are going to be sifted and visually seen by all of us, and so I just want people to be very, very aware of this, that it's very important to quote, fall on the right side. And so that is what is meant by verse 18. Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. There's only going to be two options. And in this day, the mark of the beast is going to be the mechanism by which God differentiates those two groups. Continuing on, Malachi 4. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. And so that is what happens, after, the elect are taken away. And then there is, like I said, the mark of the beast, which is to distinguish, delineate between God's left and right-hand side. And then it's God's wrath. And so that sequence holds all the time. And, I'll continue to look in other books of the Bible. And also another thing that I noticed, just a quick side note, is that in Genesis, even from the very, very first book, there are prophetic aspects of that, because it talks about 400 years, of slavery, and suffering. And so if people look at, the first instance of the so-called Negroes arriving here in America, it was 1619. And those 400 years have passed. And so even in the book of Genesis, there are verses that, refer and relate to the times that we live in now. And so I believe that the year that we're living in currently is very, very important, because that curse is now lifted off the so-called Negroes. And then also we see these very words coming to pass right before our eyes. But anyway, back to Malachi. So again, sequence of events holds. There's always the elect removed, saved, delivered, spared, whatever term you want to use. Then there is a sifting of God's left and right-hand side. That was at the end of Malachi in 18. And then now here, Malachi 4:1 talks about burning, America first, and then, the rest of the people on earth who have the mark of the beast. Malachi 4:2, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I command unto him in Horeb for all of Israel, with all of the statutes and the judgments. This would kind of seem strange for anybody who doesn't kind of get it, and then maybe watch my video first. Why is he all of a sudden referring to Moses and Elijah? Again, it will make sense because they are the two witnesses, described in Revelation 11, administering the plagues in Revelation 16, 15, and 16. And so this is all exactly the same sequence, and then the exact same quote characters. So I'll read 4 again. Again, not it's not a he's not bringing up Moses and Elijah randomly. I want people to know that all of this is very, very condensed version of the book of Revelation. So Malachi 4:4, remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I command unto him in Horeb for all of Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Verse 5, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. So he mentions Moses and Elijah on purpose. And so they will be the two witnesses that will be sent before, like I mentioned, the wrath of God, the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Verse 6, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the father, and lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And so, again, this is all referring to the fact that those two witnesses will be in charge of administering many, many plagues, specific ones, and then also whichever ones they decide during that time. But ultimately, their job will be to turn the heart of the children to their father. And I believe that's spiritual and symbolic, referring to us, if we're on the earth at that time, returning our heart back to the Most High, our only Father, the creator of all things, the Most High, the God of Israel. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.